Hello and welcome back. We are now going to begin talking about the first essay that you will write for English 11, and that will be a short persuasive essay. So first we're going to introduce you to what constitutes persuasive writing. So what is persuasive writing? In persuasive writing, which you might know as argumentative writing, we try to convince others to agree with our facts, share our values, accept our arguments and conclusions, and adopt our way of thinking. So pretty much you're trying to convince somebody else to agree with you through writing. Two vocabulary words that you should know in regards to this assignment and persuasive writing are objective language and subjective language. Objective language is a statement that is completely unbiased. It doesn't have any of the speaker's previous experiences or tastes or opinions attached to it. It is verifiable by looking at facts or performing mathematical calculations. An example of objective language might be, the earth is round. We know that to be fact. Subjective language is a statement that has been colored by the character of the speaker or the writer. It often has some type of basis in reality, but it reflects the perspective through which the speaker views reality. You can't verify it using concrete facts or figures. An example of subjective language might be, standardized tests are dumb. Well, we don't know. We can't verify that standardized tests are dumb. You can't give a standardized test an IQ test. So that would be an example, perhaps a very simple example of subjective language. Two more vocabulary words that you should be familiar with for persuasive writing are connotation and denotation. Now, denotation is very simple. It's the dictionary definition of a given word, so it's literal meaning. In order to remember what denotation means, you can remember D for denotation and dictionary. So the denotation of a word is its dictionary definition. For example, the denotation of the word chicken is a domestic fowl bred for flesh or eggs. So a chicken is a bird that we eat, where we get eggs from. Now the connotation of a word refers to the ideas and or associations that are connected to that word, or the emotional suggestions related to that word. So for example, the connotation of the word chicken is like a wimp, a person who lacks confidence. If we call somebody a chicken, we're not calling them a bird that we're going to raise to eat. We're calling them a wimp, or somebody who isn't confident. One of the steps in the writing process that you'll practice in this assignment is pre-writing. Pre-writing is the first stage of the writing process, and it's important when you're writing a persuasive argument. It helps you generate your ideas. Generally, pre-writing is messy. It's hard to follow. It maybe only makes sense to the writer himself, but that's okay. Below are 3 common types of pre-writing that you will choose from to use for this assignment. The first one is mapping or clustering. It's where you circle ideas and you link them together that surround your main idea, and I'm sure you've done something like this in elementary or middle school. You might have called it a pre-write map or a pre-write cluster, but it's where you get those bubbles going and you connect all those bubbles of all your ideas around your topic. Another pre-writing technique is questioning. Now, when you use the questioning technique, you ask yourself questions to make yourself feel forced into coming up for ideas for your essay. You could ask standard reporter questions like who, what, where, when, why, or how. These are great ways to begin to ask yourself questions about your topic. If you are writing an editorial about the death penalty, then you might ask yourself who decides when the death penalty is applicable? What kinds of crimes justify the death penalty? Or where is the death penalty legal? Obviously, you can bend these questions to fit your own needs. These are just a way to force yourself into coming up with ideas to write in your paper. Another very useful way of pre-writing, which you might even use after a map or a cluster, is outlining. It's more structured than other forms of pre-writing. It's very useful to keep your if you write an outline, to help keep your essay organized. and help your essay stay on topic. When you outline your body paragraphs with their specific points, it becomes easy just to refer to your ideas written in your outline before you begin writing your paper. It's very important when you're writing an argumentative essay or a persuasive essay is that you research your topic and you know your topic. Before we had the internet, students would have to go to a library to conduct research on their topic. Now we're lucky. You have millions of resources that are right at your fingertips. However, the printed resources that you find in the library have always been evaluated before they've been published. They've gone through a process of peer review. So you know that an example of an article in Time magazine and one in a journal such as the University of Toronto are credible sources if you find them in a library. So, however, on the internet, anybody can put anything on the internet. So it's a little bit harder to make sure that your sources are credible when you are using the internet to do your research. So there are some steps that you can look at and use to help you find credible resources on the internet. So the first thing is when you go to Google and you're searching your topic, make sure that you delve into your Google results. Don't just look at the first one or two things that pop up, but maybe scan through a page or two of results in order to find some sites with the best resources. Also look at the source of the website. If you look at the actual URL address where you're going to click, you might get some idea of whether the source will be reliable. Is it from a well-known site? Is it an educational site or a government institution? Or is it a forum site or opinion site? You should avoid forum and opinion sites. Anybody can put any opinion up there, and it does not mean it is fact. Reliable sources are more likely to come from websites that end in .gov or .org. Also, consider the validity of what you're reading. Remember, you can't believe everything you read. Just because it's on the internet doesn't mean it's true. So if you can find your fact in multiple sources on the internet, then it's more likely to be a reliable fact, quote unquote fact, and not an opinion. Watch for websites also that are cluttered with advertisements or want to sell you something. What is the purpose of this organization or website? Are they just bringing you there because they want to sell you something? And also, can you find the author's name and when the article was written? Is it recent or is it very outdated? Perhaps it's an old study that's been disproven, and so you wouldn't want to use that as a source for your persuasive essay to back up your argument. We're going to take a second to review hooks and thesis statements because you will need to use each of these in your short persuasive essay that you'll be writing this semester. So this says, please recall from last semester, but it should actually say, we'll change it right now. Please recall from the last unit. Please recall from the last unit the importance of an effective introduction. We didn't really talk about introductions, we talked about thesis statements and hooks. So we're going to skip down here and talk about an effective hook because you are going to use a hook for this paper. So let's review some of the different types of hooks you can use. You can quote a poem or passage from your favorite author. You can ask a question. You can include an anecdote, which is a short story that is unusual or humorous, or you can state a fact about your topic. So these are the four ways, the four different types of hooks that you can use for your short persuasive essay. Next, and here we go again, from Unit 1. So from Unit 1, you should recall that a strong thesis statement includes the following: the topic, plus your opinion on the topic, plus 2 to 3 specific reasons. Okay, this will be your thesis statement. The following guidelines are also important when you write your thesis statement. Do not use personal, first person pronouns in your thesis statement, like I, me, my, or mine. Your thesis statement cannot be a question. Your thesis statement needs to be one sentence, and your thesis statement needs to occur after your hook and or near the end of your introduction if you use an introduction for this assignment. This should say first person pronouns. Oops, that didn't fix it. Okay, so an example of a persuasive thesis. The United States government needs to take swift action to ban automatic weapons. So our topic is the banning of automatic weapons. The opinion is swift action needs to be taken to ban them. And the reasons are in order to reduce the number of assault weapons used to commit crimes, limit the number of casualties when a crime is committed, and reduce the number of American citizens killed by firearms. So this is an example of persuasive thesis statement. So for your short persuasive essay, you will see in the assignment after this one the requirements for your short persuasive essay. Please keep in mind that you will be required to use a hook and a thesis statement, and you will be given 3 topics from which you can choose. If you have any questions, you can contact either myself or Mrs. Gray, depending on who your teacher is.